Hey guys, this is Gatsby with Tape, and today you join me for episode 12 of Kerbal Wars, and today we are approaching Duna for the battle for Duna, because, as you may well know from previous episodes, the rebels have some sort of station in orbit of Duna with some sort of military spacecraft, and it appears that they are securing Duna for their investors, who will no doubt earn a lot of money and provide the rebels with more money for more than just defending oil rigs, and probably coming to wreak havoc and let slip the dogs of war and all that such, because letting slip the dogs of war requires money, and to get money in Kerbal Space Program, I guess you would do contracts, but they're oil miners or whatever ore miners even, yeah, they're planning on mining ore is what we believe. So yes, this is our new carrier, the Draco, which I believe I named at some point. Oh no, it's not actually the Draco, it's the Hawk. It's a Draco carrier, but it's called Hawk now. Actually I'll explain the name of my other ship later, but yeah, we're just finishing off our burn to put myself on course for Duna. And we'll take a quick look in a second at where it put me, and I think I've got it pretty well close to Duna, and we'll just take a quick look at all the other ships. I'm not going to go into too much detail about all the maneuvers, because, well, we have far more interesting things to do today, and I'm sure you can, well, watch other videos more about that sort of thing. But yeah, this is looking pretty good, a little inclined, so I'll just do a quick southerly burn, and get myself more on course for this station. Because, well, this isn't actually, it's hopefully not going to be involved in the battle, it'll hopefully just be my base of operations after, because my Corvette, as you can see here, that's hopefully going to do most of the damage, and there's also some fighters, there's also some light fighters, the little Scorpions inside the carrier, but, well, hopefully they won't actually have to see action, hopefully that'll just be a precaution. But yeah, anyway, this gets this sort of encounter much less inclined, actually. It's actually quite a decent course, and we're pretty much at the same altitude as the station. It's pretty easy to do this sort of thing once you've figured out directions, which can be a little perplexing for a while. But yeah, and then obviously just moving in my fighter squadron. Only two, because, well, it was easier to move them around. And these are heavy fighters, so I don't need a ton. That's all my extra fuel up there. It turns out the nuclear engines were burning all the fuel out of the fighters, but it's fine, I have tons of fuel in this craft. It's basically my mini little station, I guess. But anyway, after a little of an overburn, I do a correction and pull this down to be about where all my other things are coming. I think when we arrive, it's in a slightly different order. This was actually quite a heavy burn, because, like, yeah, I needed to slow this down. Oh no, this was speeding up. Yeah, it basically flipped the order of what you just saw, who arrives first. So yeah, this was a much heftier burn for this spacecraft, but it got to Duna first. And this is our first look at Duna. I thought I'd leave this in, because it is quite nice. Well, I could have done it from further away, but this does look rather pretty. I do love Duna. I wish that all the planets would get this sort of texturing, because it is just quite mind-blowing. But yeah, it's just a matter of just putting ourselves into orbit, and I just show you the kind of end of the burn sort of thing, because you know what it looks like to circularize around a planet, and I'm sure you weren't coming here for too much orbital maneuvers, more battling for Duna, and which we will be getting to rather soon. But obviously I, do some continuity, show you basically what happened, because, well, if you cut out all the burns, there's not much left in KSP. So yeah, and this is just the Corvette coming in, which has been named, well, it's got a new name, and then the Hawk comes in, the Draco Mark 1. Yeah, but the Corvette's been renamed oh god, I've totally forgotten. We'll take a look in a second when I can remember it. We'll see it on screen. But yeah, this is the Corvette actually moving in for an attack, because there was a few things I had to do, just, moving fuel around the fighters and stuff. But yeah, we're just gonna move this in to attack the station. And you can see I'm just basically increasing my orbit to be about an orbit... Wait, what was I doing here? Yeah, an orbit and a half, because I'm... oh yeah, I was doubling my orbital period so that I'd arrive at the same time the station arrived back here. Basically just a fairly simple maneuver, increasing the period of your orbit to effectively slow down relative to your target. And then just a quick plane change. Justicia, that's what it's called. It was given to me by someone in the comments. Totally forgotten who you were. Sorry, but I'll maybe mention your name next time when I'm actually more prepared. But yeah, it's Justicia, which was a really nice name, and it's actually used to mean the king's like main representative, which was replaced by the King's Lieutenant, which I thought was rather apt for the Corvette, which is my my lieutenant out here at Duna while I stay at home, I guess, sort of thing. So yeah, I thought it was fairly relevant, fairly good name, and a really nice name actually. Justicia is quite. Maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong, but I will keep pronouncing like that because I like to pronounce things in a pleasing way, not in a correct way, because it's more fun to be pleasing than correct. I don't know, something like that. But yeah, now we're going to move our fighters in after this is all in position, after this reasonably long burn. Yeah, then just pretty much the same thing, just slowing down relative to the station with my fighters, because they will hopefully be key players in the fight against the rebels. We still have not really much idea against about what we're up against, but we can see the station just over there. We're all prepared, and we've got our extra fuel there just in case I need it. Oh, I'm actually using it for the engines at this point. But yeah, we don't really know what we're up against. Hopefully fighters, the same sort of stuff we've seen before, because we know how to take that down. So we're actually going to go take a look with this fighter here. We're going to go just fly over there and take a look and engage anything we need to. These carry 4 missiles fired in sets of 2, or 1 if I did the staging crazily. But yeah, we'll just set up the missiles just in case I have to open fire, which I most likely will, as it seems to be every time I encounter a rebel, I have to open fire quite violently to protect myself from their crazy attacks. So yeah, we're just gonna, well, drift out, get everything prepared, and then, well, just null my velocity and just burn towards it. I'm not doing this particularly smartly, because this is a space battle. We just burn at our target and fly around like a plane or something. Yeah, the wings actually probably pretty irrelevant in space, but it actually can fly in atmosphere, and they work as pretty good armor, I have to say, against various attacks. Hopefully there aren't too many heavy weapons on our rebels' ships, but it's hard to say at this point. I imagine the rebels will probably have the initiative since they've seen us coming. We're more getting into position, all a bit flustered, whereas they've probably got very detailed specs on our ships and have probably seen us coming a mile away. Well, more than a mile away, you'd hope, given the size of space. Probably a light year away, not that we've travelled a light year. I don't know, like a bit of an AU, like 0.2 AU away, that sort of thing, okay? Anyway, so yeah, it does look like one of their fighters is moving in, although it looks rather large, and if I'm not mistaken, there's the same sort of torpedoes as they have on the Justicia, and we're seeing it moving in now and opening fire on our fighter. That was a jump cut. A jump cut and a half. That was a little fast-paced. Anyway, yeah, so the first shot misses, but the second one finds its mark, leaving a large explosion. Those were its smaller missiles. It does appear to have larger missiles as well, much like the ones I have in my Corvettes. So yes, we've been hit, but it doesn't look like we've sustained any damage. So we're returning fire now with our missiles. Looks like we've missed the first one, much as it missed us on the first shot. And now we're taking our second shot after a little maneuver and trying to get pointed quite well, using the autopilot and such. And that's the missiles away, and that's a hit. It looks good, although I think those scattering bits may just be the SRBs. But let's see. It looks like it's fired its larger missiles at... Oh, that looked pretty punishing. Looks like it's really torn us apart. Yeah, it looks like our missiles didn't do enough, and it's clearly destroyed us. Our pilot's alive. But yeah, let's move in with the Justicia now, because we want to get this... really get this fight going. This is actually... I didn't realise how fast-paced an edit this was. Even though I edited it just like an hour ago. But yeah, so it appeared it fired its anti-capital ships at us, which is pretty surprising. It clearly really wanted to take down our ships. It looked like they had 3 of those ships, which is pretty punishing given their weapon sets, but if it were me, I wouldn't have fired my anti-capital ship weapons at a fighter. I don't really know what to classify these Blade Mark IIs as. That's the enemy ship. I don't know if they're not really capital ships. I guess they're sub-capital ships. But anyway, we're going to return fire in the same sort of vein with our large anti-capital ship missiles, because, well, if they're carrying anti-capital ship missiles, we can call them anti-capital ships. Capital ships, of course, being the bigger ones, much like the carrier, the corvettes, dreadnoughts, that sort of thing. And there go our first missiles. It's pretty hard to hit them because they're quite small, and it looks like I've missed the first one. Yeah, the thing about those blades is they don't carry a huge amount of armament, but they are quite small and really hard to hit. These second ones curve away for some reason, which is really annoying because it looked like they were pretty much on target. So I'm down to two heavy missiles, and they're away because I'm taking this down. It may still be armed, I'm not entirely sure at this point, but that looks like a good hit. We must have taken it down. Those were pretty insane missiles, and yes, it looks like it's been pretty much ripped apart, and it's now pretty much useless. So that is that down, although I've used all of my anti-capital ship ammunition, which was probably a very stupid move. However, it doesn't look like it's super important at this point, since a Blade Mark II has fired its missiles and slammed into the Corvette. It doesn't look too bad from here. Did we survive that? I don't know if the armor's really strong. Oh no, those look like engines drifting away. Looks like we've been all but destroyed at this point. Our engines have been ripped out, a lot of our fuel. And we're still in control. It looks like it must have just damaged that, so I guess it's kind of a null point, a moot point about firing off all that ammunition, since we've been attacked quite seriously. However, we didn't fire off all of our ammunition. We still have our anti-fighter ammunition. So let's take this to the Deep Station 1 ship, which is, I guess, just a misnamed Blade. These are the RCS missiles we used on the Battle of Minmus for, well, I guess the battle for the Rebel Station in my hunting episode, which was the same sort of ship, actually, was much more effective, but we weren't against these Blade Mark IIs, which seem to be insanely heavily armed, capable of moving very fast and taking down fighters and capital ships alike. Those missiles did some pretty serious damage and have put our main player out of play, and one of our fighters, so it's pretty hard to say what's going to happen now. But it looks like our missile is going to miss. Okay, well that's okay. We still have the... It looks like it's going to fire again. It's just firing its anti-fighter missiles, I guess. Moving in on the Justiciar. Oh, they look like it's on target. And... oh, that's a good hit, I have to say. That's like knocked off the backside and shaking around like crazy. But if we just switch to the ship, find it in the map view, I guess, it looks pretty seriously damaged. That looks like it may have dealt a pretty finishing blow. I mean, I don't know if it's fully down right now, but it's definitely out of action. Well, maybe it's a stationary missile thing. Yeah, it's torn apart a whole side of our ship. These have proved to be pretty strong in the past, but I guess these new rebel ships are just too much of a match. So we are going to fire another missile away. I'm not letting it get away that easily. I'm going to at least return fire, even if it does nothing, at least to prove a point before I'm dead. So yeah, this battle has gone pretty poorly. I mean, it's gone pretty quickly. It's been hard to kind of, commentate aptly, but yeah, it's not going incredibly well for us at this point. But we will fire back at this ship. We have taken down one of theirs, but it seems to have taken down two of ours. But if I can take this down, that'll, I guess, level the playing field, although that leaves a fighter against a Blade, because we have we have one fighter left and then the carrier. So we do outnumber them, but I want to say they outclass us. And it looks like this is actually a pretty good shot, and it's going to hit. Oh, we got an explosion there. Looks like we must have done something. And let's take a look at it. Doesn't look majorly damaged. That's the missile that... oh, looks like we've actually knocked off the fuel tank of one of the missiles. Looks like we've disabled one of the missiles. But anyway, worryingly, the third of their ships decided not to go after our final fighter or to deal death to the Justiciar, but it appears to be heading for the Hawk. So it looks like we're having to send a Scorpion out against one of those gigantic, deadly fighters. Luckily, it probably won't be able to get a very good hit on us because we're tiny, a little Scorpion. And we've brought our battle variants of our missiles with the bigger engines and the more death. And this is our battle carrier, so if there's any carrier you want to be in during an attack from one of these Blade Mark IIs, it's probably this. Although I have to say, I'm not feeling good about those heavy missiles it's carrying because, well, they destroyed the Justiciar, and even its anti-fighter missiles destroyed it. So yeah, it's not looking good for us, but we will mount an assault. We're not going to go down that easy, even if we have to die trying, because we will not go gentle into that good night, and such inspiring speeches and things. So let's ignite the ion engine. Probably not ignite, but, light it up, I guess. And deploy our solar panels and head over to the Blade Mark II. I keep getting confused because it's still named D Station 1 ship. Yeah, I didn't realize, I totally forgot that we won't have enough power to run these solar panels at full blast. No, these ion engines at full blast out at Duna because we're much further away from the sun. But anyway, We're at the ship now, and we can prepare to fire our missiles, hopefully get a nice hit on, and hopefully maybe knock off some of their missiles, basically. Just disarm the ship if we're lucky, but it's probably not to be, given that it's a heavy fighter, and this is a little Scorpion. So I'm going to shut down that engine now, and fire up the missiles, take a good shot. We're 300 meters away, so we can get some speed up. And there they go, they're away, and it looks pretty good. And that is a hit. Hopefully it'll have disabled something to at least spare our carrier. But it appears it's totally undamaged. It looks like it's been hit in the behind, which is probably the best place to be hit, given that it's all just fuel tanks back there. But yeah, you can see the ship a little better now. It's very, very armoured, and has those classic blade-like wings. And after moving around a bit, moving to the side, it does take a shot at our fighter, but finds it hard to, hit our fighter with those missiles, especially firing one at a time, given that it kicks you off. But it doesn't even seem to, this pilot doesn't even seem to care about that fighter anymore. It seems to be heading for the carrier. So, this can only go badly. And yes, here it is at the Hawk. The Justiciar is down, one of our fighters is down, the other fighter is too far away to get here in time. It looks like this may be the end for the Hawk. Its short career will, looks like it may end about now. We'll follow these missiles in, I guess, and watch it destroy our beautiful ship. And there it goes. Oh god. And looks like a pretty devastating hit. Yeah, that's shattered. It's ripped off everything. Yeah, that looks pretty devastating. It doesn't even look like there's that much carrier left. Are anyone alive? Is there still the fighter in there? Can we maybe pick up some missiles? We still have ships in play, but right now we need to take stock, regroup, and probably run away. Not that we have anything to run away with, because everything is ruined. But yeah, this battle has gone pretty poorly for us, because we were outmatched, hilariously outgunned, and just not prepared for what came. Although we do still have a fighter there, and missiles, so we might be able to mount some sort of counter-offensive, but that will be in the next episode. But until then, well, I guess we'll just have to, think on a better strategy than, sending in a bunch of capital ships to be destroyed by these advanced fighters. Yeah, that's 2 capital ships down, a fighter down, and Duna all but lost. This has been KSP with Tape. I will see you next time.